everyone, welcome to Amanda's Booktopia. If you're new here, welcome, and if not, welcome back. And today I'm going to go over all the audiobooks I have downloaded on my phone that is on my TBR. And there's a lot. Let's put it that way. A lot of them are Nora Roberts, and technically I've read those, every single one of her books, except for the most recent two, I think. So technically I'll be skipping those ones. So I don't know the exact number without Nora Roberts, but it's still a lot of audiobooks. So we're going to go through them, and I'll tell you about each one that I have on this list. Because it's so big, I will not tell you everything about them because that would take forever, and I don't think everyone wants to watch like a 2-hour video. So we will cut this down, and I'll just tell you what I have downloaded. So the first one I have is All the Dangerous Things by Stacey Willingham. And by the way, I am going by alphabetical order because that's how I have them in. But the first one is All the Dangerous Things. I have A Flicker in the Dark by her as well, and I have not yet read that. However, I've been thinking about doing a thriller vlog, so maybe I'll include that in that vlog when I do work on doing that video. And then the second book I have downloaded is All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. I know there's Netflix, is it a movie or a limited series? I can't remember. Might be a limited series. But I'm really interested in reading it before I watch it, so I have it downloaded. Next we have Arch Conspirator by Veronica Roth. I read her Divergent series and absolutely loved it. Like, this was years and years and years ago, and I absolutely enjoy the movies. However, the third book and the third movie do not line up like it should. They took some stuff out from the third book that I was not happy about. But it's a short story. Arch Conspirator is only 3 hours and 22 minutes. I could smash through that in no time. And then next we have The Ball at Versailles by Danielle Steele. I have read a bunch of Danielle Steele books and enjoy a lot of her writing. And this one takes place, I think, is it World War I or II? It might be one. But I love stories from that time frame, so I'm definitely looking forward to listening to that. And then next I have Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan. I have a physical copy right here on my shelf. So who knows, maybe I'll do like an immersive reading where I read and listen at the same time. That's a possibility. So I might be doing that at some point. Because I've been needing to read Before I Let Go for ages, and I just got the sequel. So it's going to have to be a priority sometime soon. And then I also have Better Than Fiction by Alexa Martin. I remember reading a synopsis of it on Amazon, and it sounded really good. And then I found an audiobook for it, so instead of buying a physical copy, I got the audio. And then I have Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. I've heard amazing things about it, so I got the audio. And I have not wanted to buy a physical copy, but I thought the audio would be fun to listen to, so maybe I'll get to it at some point. And then I have Blood Marked by Tracy Dion. It's the sequel to, I think it's Legendborn. Yeah, that sounds right. I read Legendborn back in February. Was it this year or last year? I think it was last year, February of last year that I read it. And I really enjoyed it. So, but then I ended up unhauling it. So instead of getting a physical copy of Blood Marked, I thought I'd just get the audio and I'll listen to it when I'm ready for it. And then we have another Danielle Steele called Blue. Don't know anything about it, but I like a lot of her writing, so it's a possibility. I'll get to it at some point. And then we have The Bone Shard Daughter by Andrea Stewart. I have heard amazing things about the series, and I've been debating on getting a physical copy or if I shouldn't. So I got the audio instead. Maybe at some point I will get to it. I've heard amazing things, so hopefully sometime soon. And then we have The Cloisters by Katie Hayes. I think it's Dark Academia, but I've heard decent things about it. So I know it's on Book of the Month, I haven't decided if I'm going to get a physical copy or not, but we'll see. I thought if I have the audio, I might get to the audio sooner than I get a physical copy, so that's why I have that there. And then I have Confess by Colleen Hoover. I've read a lot of Colleen Hoover. I really enjoy her writing. So I thought I'd get the audio for Confess and try it at some point. Then we have another, couple more Danielle Steele. We have Country Novel and then Crossings. So I figured I'd try those out at some point. And then we have The Cuban Heiress by Chanel Clayton. I think it's the second. I still have to read the first one. I think the first one is something about Havana. Something about Havana. I can't remember the name of the book. Next year in Havana, maybe? Something like that. And I've been wanting to check that out because I love historical fiction and I think it's from a time period that I'm interested in. So at some point I want to read those books. And The Cuban Heiress I found as an audio. So maybe at some point I will check out more of those books. And then I have A Curse for True Love by Stephanie Garber. I also own a physical copy. And I definitely want to finish the series because I absolutely love the first two. And I want to get to the last book. I have heard not so good things. And people have been very disappointed in the third one. So I'm a little nervous about getting into it. But I don't know if I'll get to a physical copy. If I don't, I'll try the audio. Or maybe I'll try immersive reading. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. It all depends. I'll think about it. And then I have another Danielle Steele called Daddy. Don't know anything about it, but I like Danielle Steele, so of course I downloaded it. And then I also have Daisy Jones and the Six, which is like a full cast, which I've heard people rave about it. I did start listening to this at one point, then I was falling asleep during the audio. It was just, I used to just fall asleep during audiobooks, but now I'm more invested in audio again. So maybe I'll start over and try it again. I have a physical copy, so maybe I'll do like the immersive reading thing with that because of the full cast. So I would definitely look into that. Then we have a couple more Danielle Steeles. We have Dangerous Games and The Dark Side. I like her writing, so of course I downloaded a whole bunch of hers. And we also have The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston, however you pronounce her last name. I've heard amazing things about that one. There's so many people that rave about it. All over Book Talk, BookTube, Bookstagram. It's making its rounds. And she's got a new book called The 7-Year Slip. So I thought I'd give The Dead Romantics like a listen to at some point. I need to find out what all the hype is about. So at some point I'd like to get to it. And then we have Delilah Green Doesn't Care by Ashley Herring Blake. I know tons of people love this series. And I know it's LGBTQIA. And it's a female-female relationship. So I definitely want to check it out because I've heard nothing but great things. I'll have to check into it at some point. And then the next one we have is Dirty Laundry by Disha Bose. I think that's how you pronounce it. I have never heard anyone talk about this one, but I remember seeing the cover for the first time when it first came out, and it sounded interesting. And the cover is really, really pretty. So I found the audio and decided to hold on to it. I don't know why I haven't listened to it yet. I mean, it's not very long. It's only 8 hours and 43 minutes. So maybe at some point I will give that a listen. I haven't heard any reviews on it personally. So I don't know if I'm going to like it or not, but we will see. I will give it a shot. And then we have The Do-Over by Lynn Painter. I've heard a lot of good things about that one as well. I believe, isn't that one the Groundhog Day trope on Valentine's Day where she relives the same day over and over? I think that's the one. I definitely want to give it a shot because it sounds interesting. And then we have Dreamland by Nicholas Sparks. I did start the ebook for it off when I got off of Libby like ages ago, but then I never finished it, and then my copy that I got from Libby went away because I couldn't keep it forever. So I got the audio so I could try and like listen to it from the beginning again and give it a shot, because I read a lot of Nicholas Sparks books and really enjoy his writing. So I got the audio and I thought I'd give it a shot. And then we have The Eden Test by Adam Sternberg. I remember when it first came out, it sounded interesting, and I have not heard very many reviews on it. But I am going to give it a shot at some point because it sounded interesting when I got it. So I'll definitely give it a listen to at some point. And then we have Eternal by Lisa Scottoline. I haven't read any of hers in quite a while. I think I've read at least one other one by her. I can't remember how many years ago now, but it's been a while. But Eternal really sounded interesting, so I thought I would give it a shot. It's in pre-war Rome, like during 1937. So it sounds right up my alley. I love stuff like that. So, and normally she writes like legal thrillers, so I'm excited to see what she could do with historical fiction. And then I also have Fable by Adrienne Young. I also have a physical copy of it, so maybe I'll do some immersion reading with that. And then I just recently downloaded Funny Feelings by Tara DeWitt. I plan on listening to this next month in April, because it's the Sweeney Readers pick for the Sweeney Readers Romance Book Club, which is hosted by Kaylani from Kaylani Simply Me, Dana from Dana Ella, Nikki from Nikki's Bookish Coven, and Karina from She Dreams in Words on Instagram. And this is their pick for the Romance Book Club in April, so I downloaded it so I could listen to it and then discuss it with them on the live show. So I will link everyone down below to go check them out. I think it'll be interesting. I decided to get the audio instead of a physical copy. In case I don't like the physical copy, I don't want to have to like get rid of it. So I figured the audio would work for now. And then next we have Gods and Monsters by Shelby Mahurin. This is a third book in the Serpent and Dove series. I read the first two physically. The second one was mostly audio. I think I listened to the second one. I read the first book physically, then I listened to the second one on audio, and I really enjoyed it. So I think I want to do like immersive reading with the third one. I have the copy right behind me on the shelf, so I definitely want to finish the series. Then I also have The Good Neighbor, The Life and Work of Fred Rogers by Maxwell Cain. It's basically all about the life of Mr. Rogers. I don't know if you watched him when he was... When I was a kid, he like... I loved Mr. Rogers. I used to watch a lot of that show. And I also saw the movie It's a Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. I think Tom Hanks played him in the movie. And it was definitely an interesting movie. I thought it was going to be more about him, but it wasn't as much about him, but he was in it for at least a good bit of the movie, I think. It's been a while since I saw it. But I wanted to read more about his life, because I used to love watching him when I was a kid, so I thought it'd be a good opportunity to listen to it. And then next we have Homecoming by Kate Morton. This one sounded fascinating to me when I first found out about this book, and I did not want to buy a physical copy at the time because it's kind of expensive. It's still over $20 even now, so I figured I'll just listen to the audio, so you don't have to spend that much money. Then we have An Honest Lie by Taryn Fisher. Don't really know anything about it. However, I want to give Taryn Fisher a try because I've heard amazing things about her as an author. And then we have The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. I'm hoping this video will come out after my announcement of this read-along that I have going on starting in May. So if you have not seen that yet, go check out that read-along announcement. But I am looking forward to reading The Housemaid and maybe listening to the audio at the same time. Could be a lot of fun. I also have Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. I have heard mixed reviews on this one, good and bad. And it's been making its rounds on Book Talk, Bookstagram, and BookTube. So I decided to get the audio and see if it measures up for me. And then I also have If You Would Have Told Me by John Stamos. It's a memoir that he wrote about himself. I also have a physical copy on my shelf over there. And I might do some immersive reading because he narrates his own book. And it'd be so cool to like read the book and listen to him read it at the same time. I did think that would be fun. Then I also have In My Dreams I Hold a Knife by Ashley Winstead. I've heard nothing but good things on that one, and I've been wanting to check it out. I just did not want to get a physical copy, so I got the audio instead. And usually, I don't know if I'm a huge dark academia reader, but I still want to give it a shot and see how it goes. And then I also have Jade City by Fonda Lee. I've heard incredible things about this series. My fiance Ray, he just read the whole series and he enjoyed it. And I've heard so many other people say how great the series is. So I have the audio for the first one, Jade City, and I definitely want to see what all the fuss is about. And I also have Just the Nicest Couple by Mary Kubica. I have read 2 others by her and absolutely loved them. So I had to get Just the Nicest Couple as well. I think I also have a physical copy right up there on my shelf. And so maybe I'll do an immersive reading on that one. And we also have Killers of a Certain Age by Deanna Raybourn. I have heard also really good reviews on that. And I definitely want to check it out. I know there's the Book of the Month also has that. But I didn't want to buy the physical copy and end up not liking it and then having to unhaul it. So I got the audio instead. And maybe I'll give it a shot and see how it goes. Definitely want to check it out. Then we also have Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmis. I have a physical copy on my shelf over there. And I've heard really great things about it. And it also got an adaptation. So I definitely also want to watch it. But I want to read it first before I watch it. Then I have another Danielle Steele called Lost and Found. Don't know anything about it. But yeah, I love Danielle Steele. So I just downloaded a whole bunch of hers. And then we have The Love Wager by Lynn Painter. I know one of my besties, Dana, just read this, and she really enjoyed it, so maybe I'll like it too. So good thing I have the audio. It's not very long. It's only 7 hours and 4 minutes. I could probably get through that pretty quickly. So at some point I want to, check that one out. And I also have Loyalty by Lisa Scottoline. This one sounded very interesting. And it takes place in Sicily. So I definitely want to check it out and see what I think. Because this sounds very interesting. And it's not really a legal thriller like what she usually writes. So I think it could be fun. Then I also got Lying in the Deep by Diana Urban. I read one other book by her and enjoyed it. Gave it 4 stars. Shoot, what was that name of that other book that I read? I can't remember off the top of my head, but I remember it's a red cover. Because I like the one book that I read by her, I thought I'd try this one on audio. And then I also have Mad Honey by Jodi Picoult. And I read a lot of Jodi Picoult books and really enjoy her writing for the most part. However, I never read them more than once. So I didn't want to get a physical copy that end up getting rid of it. So instead of getting a physical copy, I just got the audio. And then I have another Danielle Steele called Malice. Like I said before, I just downloaded a whole bunch of hers to listen to at some point. And then I have The Many Daughters of a Fond Moy by Jamie Ford. I heard when it first came out, it was getting pretty good reviews. So I thought I'd give it a shot at some point. Then I also have The Maze Cutter by James Dashner. He's also the same author as the Maze Runner series. And I love that series. I also own all the movies of the Maze Runner series. And I really, really enjoyed it. And so The Maze Cutter, I believe, is it a prequel? Oh, I'm sorry, it's like a sequel series. It's 73 years after the Maze Runner series. So I'm definitely excited to check that out. I know that's another series in the works. So I would definitely be looking into that one at some point. Then I also have The Measure by Nikki Ehrlich. And I've heard amazing things about it. I know it has mostly literary fiction type devices in this one. And then you find out, you get this box or something like that. I guess they find a small wooden box at their front door, and it holds your fate inside, and it's the answer to the exact number of years you will live. So that sounds like an interesting concept. Then I also have Meet Me at the Lake by Carly Fortune. I read it every summer after and definitely enjoyed it. I also have the physical copy on my shelf over there. So I definitely want to check it out at some point and finish out the series. I know there's a new book in that series coming out. I haven't heard the best reviews on this one though. So if I end up not liking it as much, I might not finish out the series when the last book comes out. We will see what happens. I also have Meet Me in Paradise by Libby Hubsher. I can't remember who told me about this. Somebody did and made me interested. So I downloaded it. I don't know I can't remember anything about it at this point. But it's probably a romance. Or is it contemporary fiction? I don't remember. It's been so long. But at some point, I will check it out. Then we also have The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. Heard excellent reviews on this one. I have another Matt Haig on my shelf that I thrifted. And I definitely want to check him out as an author. Maybe I'll do like a taste test of some kind where I listen to The Midnight Library and read the other book that I have by him. Let me know if that's something you'd be interested in, because I would definitely try his work and see if I like it. Then we also have Missing Dead Girls by Sarah Walters. I haven't heard anybody talk about this one, but it sounded interesting, so I downloaded it. So we'll see how that one goes. And I have another Danielle Steele called The Mistress. Like I said before, I just downloaded a whole bunch of her stuff. And then I also have another Lynn Painter called Mr. Wrong Number. I haven't heard as many good reviews on this one as I did her other ones, but I'll still check it out at some point. Then I also have The Neighbor Favor by Christina Forrest. I've heard really good things about this one. Definitely want to check it out at some point. Don't know when, but I definitely want to. Then we have The Night Travelers by Armando Lucas Coria. I think that's how you pronounce it. I think there's like it takes place in Berlin in 1931. And I love stories from that time period, so I'll definitely be checking that out at some point. And then I have another Danielle Steele called Now and Forever. Like I said before, I just wanted a whole bunch of her stuff. And then I also have Only a Monster by Vanessa Len. I've heard good things about this one, but I haven't heard a lot of people talk about it, only like a few. But it sounded interesting to me enough, I want to check it out at some point. Then we also have Overkill by Sandra Brown. I haven't really heard anyone talk about this one, but to me it sounded interesting. And then I have The Paris Daughter by Kristen Harmel. I've read a bunch of Kristen Harmel and really enjoy her writing. So I've been wanting to check out The Paris Daughter for a while now and just haven't yet, but I have the audio now. I have the audio, so I'll definitely check it out for sure at some point, just don't know when. Then a couple more Danielle Steeles. I'll just skip those because I just say the same thing over and over about her. And then I also have The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. I have the physical copy and the prequel physical copy. And I don't know if I'm ever actually going to read the physical copies. But I'll definitely try the audio for sure. Because I know the first one, I got 215 pages into it and then I stopped. It got overwhelming. And I don't read a lot of high fantasy. And then I went a little bit out of my comfort zone and got Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. Everyone has been reading Project Hail Mary and loving it. I know he's also the author of The Martian that became a movie. And I've heard a lot of great things about Project Hail Mary. So I'm like, you know what? What the heck? I'll download it. Don't know when I'll get to it because it's not really something I normally would read. But at some point I definitely will. And then a couple more Danielle Steeles. Another Danielle Steele. Another Danielle Steele. Oh, here we go. We got Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney. I watched Ashlyn from Ashlyn Kaylee rave about this book. I think her husband Ian also read it. And I will link them both down below. The reason why I downloaded this one was because of how highly they loved this one. And they raved about it so much, I felt like I had to have it. So instead of getting a physical copy, I got the audio. But it sounds really interesting. And the way they talk about it made me be like, I need to read this book. And I haven't yet, but I do really want to. Because the way they talked about it just made me feel like I needed to. So hopefully sometime very soon I'll get to that one. And then I also have Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross. I recently got a physical copy. And I also have The School for German Brides by Amy K. Runyon. This takes place in World War II, and that's all I really know. But I love stuff from that time period, so I think it'll be a good read. Then I also have The Secret Book of Flora Lee, or Leah, I'm not sure which, by Patty Callahan Henry. I remember when this one came out, it sounded interesting, so I downloaded it. I don't remember anything about it though. It's not very high on my priority list, so eventually I'll get to it. And then I also have Seven Faceless Saints by M.K. Lobb. I haven't heard a lot of talk about this one. I've heard a little, and it sounded interesting, so I decided to download it. Then I also have another Ashley Poston, The 7-Year Slip. I forgot I downloaded this one, but it's making its rounds, and so for that reason alone is why I downloaded it, because everybody is saying how amazing it is. So Ashley Poston's going to have to be at the top of my priority list at some point, because everyone raves about her books. And I also have She Is a Haunting by Train Than Tran, I think that's how you pronounce it. I've heard some decent things about it, so I decided to download it. Then I have The Songbook of Benny Lamont by Amy Harmon. I have been wanting to check out more of her work, because she used to be an indie author. I don't know if she still is. I don't remember if she's still an indie author or not. But I do want to try and read more of her books. And this one is Hollywood-esque, I believe. It takes place in New York, 1960. So eventually at some point I do want to check it out. Then I also have Soul Survivors, the official autobiography of Destiny's Child. And Beyonce Knowles actually wrote it herself. I didn't realize that. But I definitely want to check it out, because I grew up listening to Destiny's Child and I loved them. Say My Name is probably one of my favorite songs of theirs. Then I also have the Spectacular by Fiona Davis. This was also on Book of the Month, and I never actually got a physical copy. But I do want to check it out because it sounded interesting, so I downloaded an audio. And I also have Spice Road by Maya Ibrahim. I think that's how you pronounce it. I've heard a lot of good things about this one from a lot of people, so I thought I'd download the audio and check it out at some point. And I also have The Spite House by Johnny Compton. I've heard pretty good things about this one, and so I thought I'd give it a shot. I know the Literally Dead book club read it with Kayla from Books and Lala. I believe her book club read this book. I don't remember if she liked it or not. I think she did. But I do want to check it out because I've heard a lot of good things. And then I also have Stardust in Their Veins by Laura Sebastian. I read the first one, Castle in Their Bones, last year for Buzzword. And I absolutely loved it so much that I wanted to read the second one. I think I gave the first one like 4 stars, or was it 4.5 stars? I can't remember. But I owned the physical copy of the first one, and then I got the audio to the second one. At the time, I didn't really have enough room in my shelves for another physical copy. But I do really want to read it, because the way the first one ended, I need the second book. Then I also have Stay Awake by Megan Golden. I think I read another book by her. I can't remember which one it was. It's been a while, but this one sounded really, really interesting. And the concept is something that I've never heard of before, so I'm excited to get into that one. Don't know when I'll get to it, but I want to, because it sounds really, really good. Then another Danielle Steele. Oh, here we go. We also have Their Vicious Games by Joelle Wellington. And I've been wanting to read this for a while, and I almost used it for Buzzword for January of this year, but I ended up not doing so. However, I do really want to read it because it sounds fascinating. It's a YA story, and it sounded right up my alley, and I just haven't gotten to it yet. And I also have Threads That Bind by Kika Hatsopoulou. I think that's how you pronounce it. I believe it's like a fantasy story of some kind. Yeah, it's basically about children of the gods that inherit powers, and and there's a lot of fantasy elements in this one with gods, and I think it sounds really interesting, so I'm excited to check it out. I saw the physical copy of the cover in Barnes & Noble. It is a stunning cover. And that's what drew me in initially, was that cover. Then I also have The Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman. I've heard nothing but amazing things about this series. So I thought I'd try out the first one, and I just haven't gotten to it yet. It's not really high on the priority list, but eventually I do want to check it out and see what all the fuss is about. Then I also have Traitor by Amanda Karina. It takes place during World War II, is in Poland in 1944. And as I've said before, I love books from that time period, so I'll definitely be checking that out at some point. Another Danielle Steele. Oh, here we go. We have Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover. I read a bunch of her books, really enjoyed them, and I wanted to read this one because I think it was her. I can't remember if Ugly Love was her first one or if it was Slammed. I can't remember. But this one, Ugly Love, I believe, took the world by storm. And it was supposed to be an adaptation, but the adaptation never happened. I don't know exactly what happened. But I do really want to check out Ugly Love because I've heard so many people say that's their favorite of hers. So I do want to check it out at some point. And then I also have Virgin River by Robin Carr. The only reason why I downloaded this is because of the show on Netflix. I have never read any of the series. And then it became a show on Netflix. And then I heard some good things about people are reading the books as well. So I'm like, I need to give this one a shot. So I got the audio and of the first one. Another Danielle Steele. We also have We Spread by Ian Reed. I think it's Ian. I'm pretty sure. I've heard amazing things about this one, and that there's a lot of dread involved in it. So I'm like, sign me up. And I also have When in Rome by Sarah Adams. I can't remember if that's the first one or the second one. I don't remember off the top of my head. But I've heard really good things about it, so I thought I'd give it a shot at some point. Then we also have The Whispering Dead by Darcy Coates. I've heard a lot of good things about the series, and I figured I'd check it out. Don't know when, but I definitely want to give it a shot and see what I think. I've read a lot. I've read one other Darcy Coates book before, and I think I gave it like 3 stars. It was not what I expected, and well, I'm not going to give away spoilers, but it wasn't my favorite. So maybe I figured I'd try a different one by her and see if it's any different. So hopefully we'll get to that. And I also have White Horse by Erica Worth. I don't know if I'll ever get to this one, to be honest. Even though I have heard good things. I might end up getting rid of White Horse, because I don't think it's something I'm as interested in anymore like I used to be. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of it right now. And I got rid of it. I don't think I'm ever going to get to White Horse, so might as well get rid of it. And another Danielle Steele. Oh, okay. And then we also have The Woman in Me by Britney Spears. I also have a physical copy. I know Michelle Williams is the actual narrator of the audio, so it'll be kind of weird listening to it and reading the physical copy at the same time, because it's Britney's words with somebody else as a narrator. So it might be kind of weird, but I definitely want to try it and see what happens, because I was obsessed with Britney Spears growing up, and I definitely loved her music so much, and I loved the movie she had called Crossroads. Amazing movie, by the way. So if you haven't checked out the movie Crossroads, it's currently on Netflix. But because I loved her so much growing up, I thought I'd get the book that she wrote. So I know she's been through a lot, and I want to know her side of the story. And I'm definitely excited to check that out. Then we have another Danielle Steele. Of course, I have so many Danielle Steele on here, it's not even funny. And then the last book that is on this list is Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. I've read a lot of great things about this book. I'm not a huge literary fiction person. However, I heard it's a bookish book and that it's supposed to be really good. I know my fiance Ray read the Poppy War series by her, and he loved that series. And I've never read the Poppy War series, but he accidentally spoiled some stuff in that series for me, so now I feel like I shouldn't read it anymore. But Yellowface sounded interesting, even though I'm not a huge literary fiction person. But I do still want to try Yellowface at some point and see what I think and see if I agree with the hype. And that is all the audiobooks that I have on my audiobook TBR. Have you read any of them? Did you like them? Did you not? Tell me all the things in the comments. And if there's any that I have on here you think I should prioritize, definitely let me know. And if there's any recommendations you have based off the ones that I have that you think I would like, also tell me what you think in the comments. If you have any recommendations whatsoever, that would be amazing, because I'm always looking for recommendations. And I hope you loved this video. If you did, give me a huge thumbs up. If you want to see more bookish content from me, make sure you smash the subscribe button down below. And I will see you all next time.